So, a couple of interesting stories happening this week, but I want to talk a little bit about a movie that's very controversial that we talked about on the show that I got to see in the big screen last weekend, fellas. I'm talking about director Alex Garland's Civil War. Now, to say this is controversial is probably an understatement, but I'm not going to give away too much of the farm. But I feel like this is the kind of movie that if you didn't see in theaters at this point, you would have seen by now. Now, as far as Alex Garland goes, Shah, for people that don't know, I think, and I said this, I think to my brother Mike from Necromaniacs, easily maybe one of the top 5 best directors currently working in the industry. Would you say that?
Yeah, 100%. I would definitely put him in the top 5. And he's also very talented in writing. He's not just a good director.
Yes.
He's done a lot of movies.
Yeah, he's written quite a few films. Bisho, you kind of fell into Alex Garland from us talking about it so much.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at. Oh, yeah, we talked about Men. 28 Days Later.
Well, he wrote, I think, 28 Days Later. He also wrote the Judge Dredd movie, I believe.
Yeah.
Ex
He
Machina.
direct his
Annihilation.
movies. He's known for his previous trilogy, which is Ex Machina, which he wrote directed, followed by Annihilation, and then of course the very sort of, I would say it's controversial as Men. Men probably being a box office disappointment because of how it was sort of perceived, but as we've discussed on here many times,
Yeah, very misunderstood.
very misunderstood film. I can't imagine someone not seeing any of these films. But Shah, we were so big on this guy for a while, and I just feel like no matter what his next film was going to be, we were going to be on board, right? I mean, like regardless.
Yeah, I mean him, Robert Eggers, and Ari Aster. I think those 3 for me, no matter what they do, I'll kind of just give it a shot.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he's not just going to go back to writing and not directing any more movies, because I mean that was the rumor, was that this is his last one, right?
Yeah. So that was the rumor. But again, he's constantly writing. We've barely touched the surface, I think, on the things he's written. But I had to see this film. We discussed it on the show when we heard about it initially. Unfortunately, we believed it was a Civil War movie about the actual Civil War in America, which would have been a fascinating take. I think we were like super like, oh my God, this dude's gonna give us the worst, like just the worst aspects of it. But it is a fictitious version taken from modern politics. Now, I want to point something out if for people who haven't seen the film. I'm not trying to give too much away here. This is anything you would read without giving away spoilers. You two guys might not be aware of this. So I'm just going to ask you both. Are you aware of the fact that in this movie, there is no politics? In other words, you never find out the political affiliations of the Civil War the Civil War states, Shah. So in other words, Shah, like you don't know if it's Republicans versus Democrats, if it's socialists versus communists. You don't know if it's, hippies versus yippies. There's no Shah. There's no politics to this. There's no political party sort of maligned or praised. Were you aware of that?
See, I didn't know that, but I knew that it was very much from like a neutral perspective, because when
Yeah.
I read some of the reviews, was that it's not going to piss as many people off as you expected. Because going into it, I thought,
oh yeah,
I thought going to show sides. That's what I thought it was.
I thought people were going to start shooting each other in the movie theater.
Yeah, that's kind of what I expected. And then, so I mean, I didn't know there's no politics.
None. Zero.
I didn't know that, but
zero.
It's from the journalist's perspective, basically,
yes,
right? But the
that's
whole
why.
thing is
It's supposed to be a war correspondent, and I watched the short interview B-show with Alex Garland, where he literally says, at no point in this film are we assigning a political party to the warring factions, and we did that by design. Does that surprise you, B-show?
Actually, in this day and age, yeah, in activist movie making, it really does. I think it's very smart because, as Michael Jordan once said, Republicans buy shoes too.
Yeah.
So, great way to not divide your audience. The only issue is I saw Tim Pool. Is that the dude who wears the beanie all the time?
Yeah.
On Twitter, he said something about like, you can tell it's based on Orange Man Bad, but they really don't go there. It's more from the journalist perspective. Did you pick any of that up, or was it completely
a little bit?
ambiguous?
But the actor who plays him, I still call him Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec, who also has played many other characters. But he's a character actor.
Nick Offerman, yeah.
Nick Offerman. I like Nick Offerman quite a bit. He's a very, very funny guy. He's a strange man. He's kind of inconsequential. Yeah, I mean, now if you just see an arrogant president talking shit. Is it always going to be Orange Man bad? I mean, look, I think Alex Garland, because of how different and how smart he is, he didn't need Shah to go for the cheap heat and go, this is about MAGA. This is about the dangers of like, and also he's not American, which I think a lot of people maybe forget or aren't aware of Shah,
Yeah, I agree with both of those. And, kind of just to touch on what Bisho was saying. Yeah, they don't want to piss off one side because they want everybody to go watch it. So yeah, I mean, it's a smart approach. And on a side note, I want to give Chris Matthews a shout out because he just named my top 5.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, well, new directors. I don't want to include
yeah.
Quentin Tarantino and guys like that.
I see his 3 there. Yeah, and then Cronenberg. Look at his top 5. We should do that during the.
Ari
we should do a
Aster,
show with that. Everybody
Brandon
sends in their top
Cronenberg,
5.
Alex Garland, Ty West, and Robert Eggers. I mean, those 5 are the new
like
5 that, I mean, holy shit. Everything they put out, I've enjoyed so far. So
yeah, Emmanuel Rojas joined the crew here, and so did Marquise. Emmanuel Rojas saying he was also a story supervisor for Devil May Cry, the video game. Yeah, Alex Garland's a genius. I mean, he's a genius. He's brilliant. He didn't need, you know what I'm saying, Bisha? I almost like respect, like I didn't know this going into the movie, and I'm sitting in the theater watching this with a lot of people. There was a lot of people at my showing, and because it had just opened, that weekend, and it's not doing great, but I think, do you think, Bisho, we're not, I mean, I hate to say this, but do you think we're not smart enough to see a movie that has no politics about something like this?
Yeah, I don't know. Because, like, if this was Daily Wire, it would definitely be slanted one way or the other, which is why I think people stay away from those movies because they're completely exploitive. And, you don't have to go there. And I think that's what I like about, I hate to do the A24 thing or Alex Garland, but this newer crop of directors and writers coming out where they don't have to go there and be cheap about it for a hook.
Yeah.
They're just making good shit. And it is provocative because you put a title up with Civil War, you think you know what you're getting going in, and probably surprised when it wasn't that. It was pretty innocuous.
Actually. Yeah, but it could be confusing. Kevco TV, you brought up an interesting point, which I will get to about the gunshots, because that's a big part of this story. And I almost saw an IMAX. I didn't. Just because I didn't feel like paying for the extra kick up there. But so again, I don't want to give so much of this movie away, but there's a lot of more movies opening. This is not really oh, let me run to the theater to see it. I feel like if you're going to see it, you might have seen it already. But it's a brutal movie. Like I like the shooting deaths and the frequency of people being shot. Some of it at like execution style. And the fact that this is basically, and again, I don't want to give away too much. I apologize for trying to be cryptic, but basically the sitting president has decided to not leave office. And 2 states in particular who have no political connection to one another decide that this is a moral imperative that we must physically remove this person. And those 2 states are California and Texas. And California and Texas, being massive states with massive military style presences there, are now literally fighting against the who people who are fighting for the president. On top of which, there are also clearly anarchistic people in their own militias, hillbillies with guns on roofs. So it's like you really don't know who the fuck is who until it comes very clear towards the end is these war infractions. And Alex Garland said, Shah, he chose Texas and California specifically because of how different they are politically, but that they came together with their massive amount of private military and people to say that, yeah, even though we don't agree on politics, we need to go and literally murder. The plot is California and Texas are coming to DC to murder the president. And the president has DC and all through the Northeast is under this crazy military. But Shah, it's kind of a genius. Like on the surface, it's kind of Alex Garland.
No, it definitely is a genius approach to it because, like, again, California being completely blue and fucking Texas being the polar opposite,
right?
You can't help but to kind of make the connection to the insurrection from January 6th.
Yeah,
it's clearly what it's influenced.
But they
by.
never say. But Shah, they never call anybody a Republican, a Democrat, MAGA. None of this is ever said.
And I mean, he's using the California and Texas thing as a tool to kind of hide,
a device, like a plot device. Yeah.
But no, man, I like that. I like the fact that, I mean, I didn't really know the plot, but that's a dope. That's kind of what I wanted to happen. So
yeah, and B-Show, one of the things is that the Northeast, because of its proximity to DC, is a fucking war zone. And the closer you get to DC, now I should tell you, this movie opens in Brooklyn, with civil unrest in Brooklyn. It's very jarring for me to see that. And the deaths come right away. Death is everywhere. You know, Bisho, let me ask you a question, because like I said, you're a little bit later to the Alex Garland table. Do you think a mainstream director could have made these choices and everyone would have been like, yeah, totally fine?
No, not at all. Because I think there's an, and again, outsider perspective, it seems like there's an understanding, not to sound fucking, like one of these guys that goes on Rogan and says there's an entire system in Hollywood, but like you almost,
sorry,
I wasn't going that far, but
I'm adjacent.
There you go. So it's almost like it's understood that you have to fall in line and make a certain type of movie. And if you don't, then you're going to end up, like I said, Daily Wire, making movies with fucking Ben Shapiro all day long. And I don't think you could do that, because I think there's too much expectation to do one thing or the other. It would be a mainstream person to say, okay, it's either going to be Texas or it's going to be California, because they're polar opposites. But someone like this goes, hey, what if it was them fucking banding together because they're so polar opposite that they both think shit's fucked up? That's I hate to say, a genius move.
Yeah.
But it would have been so easy. And I think that's what I was getting to with the A24 style thing. And it's an overused term, but it's that experimental attitude and vibe where it's not just, okay, we're going to make this film about this thing, and these are the things that happens. It's the South Park mentality of, instead of this and then this and then this, it's this happens, but this happens, therefore this happens, and you go around it. It makes it much more interesting. So kudos to him.
And when you guys eventually will see this film, Shah, I'm the cinematography is woof, because you see like the turnpikes with just bodies and cars for like as far as the eye could see. One, I think it's supposed to be the Pennsylvania Turnpike, if I'm not mistaken. One side of it, Shah, is completely cars and bodies, like from like airstrikes. And they're driving from Brooklyn to DC, and they have to go towards Pittsburgh because they can't go through the tri-state area because it is, this is it. It is completely destroyed, Shah. I mean, it is utterly destroyed. Look at that.
Yeah, I heard the IMAX experience is definitely worth it though. If you haven't seen it yet, because that's what I kept reading in the reviews, was the sound and how effective it was. They were saying the IMAX, if you experience it in there, it's horrifying.
Yeah, the gunshots.
From my understanding, it did pretty well so far. It's almost at like what, 26 million or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know what it cost. B, can we maybe pull up the financials there?
Because all the reviews were saying it's doing really well.
Yeah. It's, I mean, look, if you like Civil War box office 1.53. Civil War movie box office, maybe.
That's where I'm going with it.
Yeah, because it's so much.
1.1 billion.
Yeah, that's what the Civil War cost us in real life, guys, in the 1800s. Like, how much did the Civil War cost?
25 million in the opening weekend.
Wow.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm very surprised. Although my movie was crowded. And it's
I was gonna say, do you think people are just quiet about it because they're mad that it wasn't one thing or the other, that they can't complain about it? There's no easy outrage vent for them?
I don't know, Shah. What do you think to that? Because do you think this is a movie? Because I feel like this is the kind of movie people see and don't shut the fuck up about. You know what I mean?
I mean, I've read a lot of reviews on it. I saw a lot of hype behind it, but nothing negative so far. And I don't think.
Yeah, no, there's nothing negative about it. I just think for certain, like some people, the criticisms I've seen, and I'm gonna stop with plot, is that a lot of people thought it was too slow. There's about, maybe, honest to God,
it's A24. What do you expect?
8 speaking parts that have Kirsten Dunst. This is the best thing she's ever done in her life. This is the best thing she's ever done in her life. I know a lot of people are upset with her about the Spider-Man shit. I really don't want to get into it. That's her perspective. She has a right to perspective. She's been around a long time. Good for her. But this is the best. I mean, something about this guy, Shah, I think, in his directing, I feel like an Ari Aster, like a Scorsese, like a, maybe even dare I say, a Brandon Cronenberg, definitely an Eggers. They pull that shit out of you. Like they fucking get, you know what I mean, Shah? Like they fucking get in your skin and they make you, because this guy's not going to put bad fucking frames of dialogue on the page.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, they understand the psychology behind fear, and it's not just like shadows from the closets. They know how to get underneath your skin. You know what I mean? It's not a Blumhouse approach.
No.
Even
There's no
I mean,
jump scares from this guy.
Yeah, I mean, look, you look at Alex Garland. I mean, his Ex Machina is essentially a sci-fi movie.
Yeah,
and there is no jump scares, but it's fucking It's a terrifying fucking movie.
It's very. And by the way, look at Shah, if you made Ex Machina now with AI, it's 10 times.
That's what I mean. He was ahead of the game because now I'm like, oh shit. After I'm dead, there's 100% gonna be robots that are mixed in with humans. Like, I mean, with technology, and you look at Annihilation. I don't want to spoil anything, but that ending made me very uncomfortable. Like, I was very fucking uncomfortable.
Fucking great ending, man. He knows how to end the motherfucker.
And that was a very different kind of alien movie. Nothing's been like that before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was more like environmental alien movie, right?
Like, yeah, but I mean, alien nonetheless, because it just, that ending though, man, that shit just fucked me up. And then you look at Men, it's like a Cronenberg movie, but it's deep. It's totally. I don't know, man. I like how every movie is so different, but yet, just the same amount of terrifying. And I'm in Civil War. This is nothing like he's done before, but I'm sure I would shit my pants every time I see it because this is more of a realistic approach to fear than the other ones. But
yeah, B show. When I got out of the movie theater, I called my brother Mike, which is kind of something I generally do when I come out of movie theaters. And I texted him, and I was like, I just got out of Civil War, and he was like, and I'm like, it's a fucked up movie, dude. Like, that's just, I was like, and that's the thing. Look, is it his best? Absolutely not. It's I almost feel like it's unfair to compare this to these other films. This is his most ambitious effort. Clearly, this is ambition on another level. But B-Show, the thing I think that people are going to resonate with this movie is whereas all these other things that this guy has done are either far-fetched sci-fi, psychological. This feels like it could probably really happen, right? I mean, I think that do you think that's an appeal or a turnoff?
Depends on who the crowd is. There's a lot of people who like, hey, it's over here. It can never happen, but we'll go on the roller coaster. We'll ride the ride as long as we're strapped in.
Yeah.
I think that repulsed feeling is what they're going for, and it's what's effective. But I think a lot of people, especially nowadays, like when I watch my cousin's kids or when I watch my kids and they watch something that's kind of tense, their initial response is to grab the phone or to look away or turn to something else.
Yeah, not pay attention.
But yeah, there's just this aversion to tension. Like they always have to have something, and when you draw something out, it makes them so uncomfortable, which that's what you want, but it's not necessarily going to keep people coming back. The one thing that I'm hoping with a movie like this, and it goes back to something, I don't remember what director said it in the 70s, but they're talking about like messages in movies. And they said, no, I don't ever want to put a message in a movie. There are themes, under the surface. There's themes. Obviously, there's things I want to say, but my job is to get you to think and to get you to come to conclusions.
Right.
And that's, I think, what sets this movie apart from maybe if it was done by another mainstream guy or girl, is that they're not hammering home red bed or blue bed or whatever. Right. They're just putting it out there and saying, this is human nature, guys. This is where we could be headed. So,
for sure.
So I think I'm hoping that more movies like that come out as opposed to the pablum red meat for whatever base. And hopefully this has more success because it sounds really good. And now I want to go see it 10 times more.
Yeah. Shah, I think if you guys end up seeing it in IMAX, I think your experience would be very different from mine.
Yeah.
Because especially like the gun, like look, initially when I heard about the gunshot thing, I kind of made fun of people for being kind of, dicks. Like, because people were like, yeah, the gunshots are really jarring. I've never heard gunshots like this. And Kevco brought that up, in the chat. But Shah, there's something about this very realistic director with a realistic vibe who has a very, sort of direct knack for making you feel like almost uncomfortable. And then seeing people just get executed at close range by fellow Americans. It's crazy.
Well, I think he kind of capitalized on the riots also because, during that riot season, we couldn't help but our minds kind of went to the worst, and you start imagining how things would look like in reality.
Yeah.
And I think he starts to show you that. So it's almost like we've been there in our minds before. Yeah. It didn't happen that long ago. So that even makes you more fearful of it because you're like, shit, we almost witnessed something like this. You know what I mean?
No, we really did.
And you gotta like, I don't mean to continue the A24 sucking off, but like, they take these risks, man. There's not too many companies.
They can. Yeah, they can.
They can, but I mean, they make movies like Lamb, and then fucking if they follow it up with what was that other? There's something with the seashell with the shoes on.
Oh, Marcel the Shell.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're all over the
That
place.
movie's
Right?
adorable, by the way.
Yeah, but I mean, they're all
adorable.
over the place
It's
with
adorable.
how many different types of movies they do.
Yeah, and then they make Everything Everywhere All at Once, which by no means was made to be an Academy Award frontrunner in every capacity, and it was, and it stole every award.
Well, that's what they're trying to go for with this one. They're trying to make some money back so they can take some other risks.
I will say this before we move on. I wanted to remember, Shah, I thought of you in the movie theater because now that A24 is, like a big player, every trailer before the A24 movie is A24 movies.
Oh,
And
that's nice.
yeah, which is fun. Like I've never seen this before. So I saw Maxine, which place went bananas for, but absolutely fucking bananas.
That's awesome.
And then that movie, that the stereo, that weird teen movie, we saw the trailer that just looks about the TV trying to kill you. You know what I'm talking about? We saw
something glows when the TV
something glows
like
and the TV glows, something like that.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see that fucking movie. I'm all dialed in for that movie. And then they had another A24 movie, which escapes me, but that was the trailers because that's just where they are at this level. I think this is something to be experienced. I can see people not digging it. The ending, that's all I'll say. Some people did not like the ending. I kind of understood the ending. But I think people will be talking about it for a while. Definitely worth checking out in the IMAX.